Ever notice how, like, the whole energy of a volleyball match just shifts when the score gets tight?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
totally.
you can feel the tension, right? The teams play every point so differently depending on where they are in the game.
Makes sense, right? It's like the strategy has to change depending on the score.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. How do you play a single point in volleyball? Well, the answer's not that simple.
Right. Not simple at all. There's no one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
We've got some great resources to help us out here.
Yes.
We'll be looking at the Canadian Elite Academy, their website, and some stuff from a YouTube video they did.
Oh,
Also, we'll be checking out Coaching Sports to Internet Brats, this ebook by Dr. Darren Cannell, and a coaching guide aimed at elementary and high school volleyball coaches.
sounds like we've got a pretty good mix there.
We do. So many different coaching perspectives,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, right? Like, one thing that stands out from these materials is just how important it is to be able to adapt strategically. Like, you've got to read the game, make decisions on the fly. You can't just stick to some rigid game plan.
So for everyone listening, our goal today is to really unpack how to approach each point strategically. Not just thinking about winning every point the same way, but understanding the nuances.
Totally.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning of a set. What do teams really need to focus on in those first few points?
Well, in the early stages of a set, teams are usually working to establish their rhythm. And crucially, they're trying to get a read on their opponents. It's a bit like scouting, but it's happening right there on the court.
Interesting.
So they're looking at the other team's setup, trying to figure out their go-to plays, and maybe spotting any weaknesses they can exploit.
Makes sense. The sources we looked at also talked about the importance of that very first server.
Oh, for sure.
They were saying how teams will specifically pick someone with a lot of skill and experience to start in that right back position.
That's right. That right back spot gives them a unique angle to work with.
Right. What makes that position so advantageous?
Well, starting from the right back, it affects the trajectory and angle of the serve,
Mm-hmm.
which, in turn can impact the receiving team's formation and passing lanes. A coach is going to take into account their service strengths, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are they better with a hard, flat serve? Or are they more of a float serve specialist? And then you have to think about how that will play against the other team's likely serve-receive patterns.
Wow, so much strategy even before the first point.
It's all about that first impression, right? Put the pressure on immediately, maybe even grab a point right off the bat. Sets a good tone for the rest of the set.
Love it. Sets the tone. And I guess that means serve receive is super important in those early points, too.
Oh, absolutely. A shaky first pass can really throw off your whole offense before you even get started.
Makes sense.
A good, solid pass is like the foundation for any attack. It gives the setter more options, and hitters can time their approaches better. That first touch has got to be perfect.
So those early points, it's a combination of figuring out the opponent, but also just nailing those fundamental skills.
Right.
Serving, passing, doing the basics well to try and grab that early lead. And I'm guessing teams are also looking for any cracks in the opponent's armor, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe they notice something during pregame scouting. Or perhaps it becomes obvious in those first rallies.
Right.
Those early observations are super important. If a passer is having trouble with a certain serve, or if a hitter is consistently beating a specific block, teams will start to adjust their strategies to take advantage of that as the set goes on.
It's all about information gathering, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's execution, too. You got to be able to play the points well, too.
Okay, so we move into the middle of the set. Everyone's warmed up, the score is starting to take shape, and things are heating up a bit. How does that change things strategically?
This is where the real-time adjustments start coming in. Teams have a better sense of the flow of the game, and they can see what's working and what's not based on the score. The strategy becomes more nuanced, depending on whether a team's ahead, trying to catch up, or if the score is really close.
And this is where the setter really becomes the key player, right?
You got it. The sources we looked at, they all highlighted how the setter is like the quarterback of the offense, making those split-second decisions on where to set the ball.
It's an intense position.
It is. They have to take in so much information, the pass, the blockers, their own hitter's strengths, and then decide who to set and what kind of set will give them the best chance to score.
A lot of responsibility on their shoulders.
For sure. Being able to read the game and adapt quickly, that's what separates a good setter from a great one.
Interesting. It seems like there's a balance to strike between focusing on offense, trying to score points, and maintaining a strong defense so you don't give up easy points.
Right, exactly. You can't just be about outscoring the other team. You got to be able to stop them from scoring, too. A strong block can shut down a big hit, and great digging keeps those rallies alive, gives you more chances to score yourself.
And it feels like rally scoring really adds to that intensity.
Oh, absolutely. Our coaching guide pointed out that with rally scoring, the momentum can swing so quickly.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
A couple of good plays from either side, and suddenly the whole feel of this set changes. You can't relax for a second, even if you got a small lead. And if you're behind, you got to keep fighting for every point to try and shift the momentum back in your favor.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat, for sure. Okay, now we're in the late stages of a set, and the score is tight. I feel like that's when the pressure really starts to ramp up.
No doubt. The closer you get to winning the set, the higher the stakes become. The mental side of the game becomes so important at this stage.
How so?
Well, you have to minimize those unforced errors. A missed serve or a hitting error at this point in the game, it can be devastating.
I've seen so many close games turn on a couple of unforced errors. It can be brutal to watch.
For sure. This is when you really have to stick to the fundamentals. Play smart, disciplined volleyball. Don't try to force those flashy plays. Just focus on executing the basics cleanly and consistently.
Makes sense. And I bet this is where coaches really rely on their most reliable players.
Definitely. These are the moments when you turn to the players you trust to deliver under pressure. The ones with the strongest mental game. You might even have specific plays designed to get the ball to those players when you need a point the most.
I've also noticed that teams often use timeouts strategically in the late stages of a set. What's the thinking there?
A well-timed timeout can be really effective in a close game. Sometimes the other team's on a roll, and you just need to break their rhythm.
Right.
A timeout gives the coach a chance to talk to the team, maybe make a quick adjustment or two, and try to calm everyone down before those crucial points. Sometimes it's as simple as drawing up a play for the next rally.
Almost like hitting the reset button. Okay, let's talk set point. The serving team has a chance to win the set. What are some of the strategic choices they have to make?
Set point is such a crucial moment. The serving team has to decide, do they go for a big, aggressive serve? Try to win it with an ace.
Go big or go home, right?
Well, it's risky.
Yeah.
You could miss the serve and give the other team another chance. The other option is to go for a more controlled serve. Just get the ball in play and make the receiving team earn the point.
So many factors to consider.
It's all about making the best call in that specific moment, taking into account your server's confidence, the kind of serves that have been working throughout the match, and the overall momentum of the set.
And what about the receiving team on set point? They're 1 point away from losing the set. What's going through their minds?
For them, it's all about that first contact. Getting a perfect pass to the setter. They know they need to score to stay in the set, so they have to execute their offense. But it's tough mentally. They're facing the pressure of potentially losing the set, but they can't let that get to them. They have to stay focused, trust their training, and just play their game.
Easier said than done, I imagine.
It is, but that's what separates the good teams from the great ones. That ability to perform under pressure.
Absolutely. And if the set goes to match point, well, then the pressure goes up another notch.
Match point is the ultimate test. It's all on the line, all that hard work, all those training sessions. It comes down to this moment.
Intense.
Players have to dig deep, trust their instincts, and just execute.
Are there any particular strategies that teams lean on at match point?
You'll usually see teams go back to their most reliable plays. The serving team might put their most consistent server on the line, or maybe their strongest server if they're feeling confident. And the receiving team will probably try to get the ball to their best hitter in a good position to score.
You put your best players in the spotlight.
Exactly. It's do or die time. Give it everything you've got.
And finally, let's talk about the tiebreaker set. Every point feels so crucial when you're playing to 15.
Oh, the tiebreaker. It's the climax of the entire match. After 4 hard-fought sets, it all comes down to this.
The pressure must be insane.
It is. And because it's a shorter set, to 15, every single point is magnified. One mistake, and you could be handing the match to the other team.
So much is riding on every rally.
You bet. This is where you see the truly resilient teams shine. They stay calm, focused, and execute under the most intense pressure. It's not just about skill at this point. It's about mental toughness and the will to win.
What we've been talking about today, it's so much more than just knowing how to hit a ball or serve over the net.
It is.
It's understanding all these strategic and psychological layers that come into play as the game unfolds. Knowing how and when to adapt your game plan can make all the difference.
Couldn't agree more. How you play a single point in volleyball, it's not some fixed formula.
Mhm.
It's about responding to what's happening on the court. You have to be aware of the score, how the set is going, the momentum shifts. It's all connected.
Thinking back to any recent sports game you've watched, that doesn't even have to be volleyball. Can you spot those moments where the team's strategies changed?
I bet you can.
What was the score? What did they do differently? And what happened as a result?
Once you start paying attention to these things, it's amazing what you can see.
It is. And for those who want to explore this even further, there are tons of great resources out there on volleyball strategy and tactics.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
See you next time.
See ya.